getting over the idea that you have in your head of being with someone for the rest of your life. I think that's like one of the hardest things about breakups. The deeper one was like, do I really love myself as much as I like say that I do?
Because if you have no life and you find a man, that man becomes your life.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Not Overthinking It podcast. I'm Elisabeth, and today I have my bestie, my business partner, and a long friend of mine that I decided to bring on the podcast. Her name's Jocelyn, and you've probably seen her before if you follow me. I decided when thinking about what we wanted to talk about today for the episode, when I thought about something that I think she would be able to speak on really well is her ability to not settle in any relationship. She's great at communicating and communicating her worth, her needs, and her standards. And I think that that's something that a lot of us can learn from. She's really the epitome of like solo dates, self-love, self-care. And I feel like since I've met her, her mindset glow up has just been like literally from 0 to 100, I feel. It would be helpful to speak on this because a lot of girls do not have self-worth. And also when a man doesn't, I guess, accept them, then they take it so personally.
Yeah.
That girl could be literally like the whole package. And they could still be like, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me because this guy doesn't like me or he's not replying. And they spiral. And so I think undoing that comes with like establishing self-worth. But like, how does one even do that if they
Don't
know how to start? Yeah.
I realize that lack of self-worth comes from a lack of not knowing who you are as a person. Because if you don't know who you are as a person, you don't know what you value, you don't know what your standards are, you don't know what you love, what you don't love. So to build up self-worth, I feel like you have to build up identity, do the things that you say you're gonna do. So for example, like I identify myself as someone who is really into like health and fitness, but like I can't say I'm a health and fitness girly if I like say I'm gonna go to the gym and then I don't. And then consistently over time, that becomes your identity of someone who's like inconsistent with themselves. And so you're really not a health and fitness girly. So then you start to question yourself, am I really a health and fitness girly? I like say that I am, but I'm not really like consistent with it. So I think when you do something consistently and you do the things that you say you're going to do, you become strong in whatever those identities are. And it helps you build up, this is who I am as a person. So that way when another person comes in your vicinity, it doesn't really matter whether or not they agree with you or like the same things or like are not treating you a certain way because you realize like, this is who I am. Like I do what I say I'm going to do. I'm confident in who I am. And that's how you unknowingly you build up your self-worth because you know who you are as a person.
Even like writing down the identity that you want to have and you're writing it down, you're getting clear. And then even applying that when you're looking for a man or a relationship, it's like, what is my standard for a man? And like having that written so that you can't convince yourself that you never thought that you can't have a perfect man, but standards are standards.
Yeah.
And if those are not being met, then you have to hold yourself accountable for that. In what ways do you showcase your standards or like not let people cross those boundaries?
Being okay with like letting people go the minute it happens. Anything in your life, you should not be so fearful that it's going to leave you because that's literally life. Life comes with grieving. Life comes with hard things. So I think to have high standards, you like literally have to be like, okay, if she crosses my boundaries, like I have to be okay with walking away and knowing that I'm going to be okay. For that relationship, my most recent one, it was kind of ironic because I was like, this relationship was when I had right after I'd gone through like 2.5 years of singleness. So I was like, I know what I want. Like I know what my high standards are. Like if I'm going to get in another relationship again, like this person needs to meet my standards. So going into that relationship, I thought this person like checked off literally like every single thing I had ever wanted. And I was like proud of myself, obviously, because I was like, look at me like this is the fruit of like holding myself to a high standard. So when it ended, because it was an abrupt breakup for me, I didn't realize right after how much I had tied my self-worth to that relationship. And I was like, if I'm not in this relationship, in a sense, like maybe I'm not as worthy as I had thought I was. So the months like after it, it was like getting over the idea that you have in your head of being with someone for the rest of your life. I think that's like one of the hardest things about breakups is I envisioned this person with me forever and ever and ever and living happily ever after. And then them being like your best friend too at the same time, like that's really, really hard. And then the deeper one was like, do I really love myself as much as I like say that I do? So what I think helped me get back to like my high standard self, because I feel like I still have those high standards, was I think pouring into myself. Like I said, this year of singleness was me trying like a bunch of new things. I've thrown myself into like dance classes, Spanish lessons, going to new places. Like I think the best way to create high standards for yourself is like you are also holding yourself to a high standard. Like how can you expect high standards out of someone else if you're not being your own dream girl in a sense? Like if I say that I am a girl with high standards, like I say that confidently because I do all the things that I say I'm going to do, and like I want to attract the man that I feel like I'm also the woman.
You want to attract a high standard man, and that high standard man also wants a high standard woman.
Yeah.
That you have to.
Yeah. I feel like you can't expect a lot of things if you're also not that.
Right. Do you feel like there's a line between what needs to be first communicated and then like what is like a straight up, oh, you crossed my boundary and I don't tolerate that?
That's such a good question, because I literally was watching a podcast the other day, because I feel like with dating, again, dating is trial and error. I'm not saying I'm like the queen of dating, but I've dated a lot. I like asked myself the same thing. It was in a podcast and they were like, there's a difference between expectations and then there's the difference between standards.
Mm-hmm.
Expectations are expecting someone to do like the outcome to be a certain way, and standards are kind of like a rule of thumb. An expectation is I expected him to text me 2 minutes when he got home. Did he text me right away? No. So like my expectations are like I'm sad because I didn't get what that like that I didn't get that to happen. Mm-hmm. Versus a standard is like I expect communication. That's a standard. Communication is really important to me. Someone who respects me is really important to me. Those are standards. We actually put expectations on people and we think they're standards.
I agree.
Do you get what I mean? Yeah.
People can't read minds.
Yes, exactly.
So there's a thing where it's like if he wanted to, he would. But like some people don't know what you want or what your love language is. Or maybe they tell you words of affirmations and you're like, no, I want gifts. Yeah. Because they don't do that.
To go back to your question, I do think it's okay to give people the benefit of the doubt when people don't meet your standard in a way, because it can be just a miscommunication. Guys don't really think the same way girls do, like at all. So
something that I've heard and I've thought about is like how a man treats you is how other women have let him treat them. If he was in a relationship and that girl communicated more and was like, I want flowers, I want my door open, he's probably already used to that expectation. Or even women in his life, like his sister, his mom.
You do learn a lot about yourself in a relationship. You can self-love for however many years of your life, but the minute you get in a relationship, that is a mirror and you start to see things.
Not taking things personally and realizing that you could literally be an amazing woman. You probably are. You could be like the whole package, and a man is, if he's not ready or if he's not in the headspace, you don't know the traumas he has, the mindset that he's been raised with, and so he might just not be able to like appreciate the person that you are. But that doesn't mean that you're not that person.
I think creating an armor of not taking things personally literally helps so much in life, in love. I think that's a really, really good point.
If you've never dated before, there's people that romanticize it. They think that having a boyfriend is the answer. And in that case, that they might feel so eager to date that they end up settling. So let's talk about different stages of dating and how to avoid being desperate or like losing sense of, your worth. Say you're single and you're sick of it. The red flags start to appear a little bit pink when
there's fish in the sea.
Like I remember in college, there was like this a football player. The attention he gave me,
Mm-hmm.
I was, and also I was freshly single. I think I knew that he didn't actually value me, that I was just another girl that he was flirting with, and I was like okay with that because I just liked the feeling of like the validation from that person. And I think if I were to tell myself then, and this came into my thought when I was like thinking about our friend group, but we would all be what society would call bitches because we have standards, we have boundaries, and we really prioritize our time with ourselves. We know our worth, and no matter who you are, no matter how long we've been together, we will not tolerate like disrespect. And I think people are afraid to speak their minds like that because they're afraid that the guy's gonna be like, I'll forget you, like, or you're a prude, or whatever title or perception they're afraid of. But I think that it actually makes the right men want to pursue you more, or they're like more interested, they're curious, and they respect that.
I don't even think the right man, honestly, a lot of men, even the wrong men. A lot of men are attracted to girls who have their own life. On the reverse side of that, like, if a guy was just constantly fawning over you, always wanting to see you, and he would drop, like, I don't know, anything to come and see you at any moment, you'd be like, bro, what are you doing with your, like, what, do you not have a job? Do you not have a life? Like, or, like, aside from me, we just met like 2 weeks ago. I 100,000% agree with what you're saying.
Get hobbies, read, learn.
Yes. Do you try to be as smart and as interesting and as just cool? Like, you ever meet someone and they have like just random hobbies and you're like, wow, you are literally so cool. And all of us have the potential to be that way.
Yeah. And even prioritizing female friendships before male, like if you don't even have girlfriends, don't try to get a boyfriend first.
Unpopular opinion.
No, your boyfriend's gonna be your only friend, and then that's when you settle even more, and you're like, and I don't know, they guys that see you. I'm sorry, I think that it's a scene as, I mean, imagine you were with a guy and he had 0 friends, like that would be such a red flag. And I personally think it's a red flag if a girl has 0 friends. In no matter, like,
I agree.
If she's like, oh, girls are mean, girls don't like you back, it's like, that's not true. So you're playing victim. And we gotta work through that. And so let's make you some girlfriends first.
Yes. Let's go on BFF Bumble. I've done that before during times when I didn't have the strongest friends, and it definitely works. So
have a life before you try to get a man. Because if you have no life and you find a man, that man becomes your life.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
That's a slippery slope to get into.
I can't even imagine.
I can't imagine. No, I can't imagine.
I wouldn't.
That would make a breakup 10,000 times worse. And if that's you, that's okay. It's self-awareness. We got to realize, okay, if you have a boyfriend and you are that way already, let's start finding hobbies.
Yeah.
Finding things that outside of your relationship that you are passionate about and interested in. It keeps, I feel like it even keeps your relationship interesting because you have something to talk about with each other. Come back together. Be like, oh my gosh, this happened at X, Y, and Z thing. This happened at X, Y, and Z thing. It makes it even more funner because if you guys are only focusing on yourself, at what point, like, the conversation can get.
Yeah, it just like comes like creating arguments or like talking about each other.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like even like my boyfriend, he literally knows about all my friends. Not like, he'll just be like, oh, how's like this friend? How's this friend? Like, you guys should have separate friends, separate interests, teach each other things.
It's crazy because every guy that I like date, I like get so excited when the friend conversations come up because I just like my friends are just so cool.
Yeah, and that guy should also encourage you to stay in contact with friends if you are already somebody in a relationship. If they're making you like isolate from your friends, that's very much a red flag. I had this quote pinned and I was like, with or without you, my plans don't change. And I always like,
dang, the way you still remember that.
I repeat it still to this day because I'm like, that's so true. I'm gonna do everything I say.
Yeah, I do.
I want you. I would love you there, but if you're not there, then I'm gonna still do it.
And that is literally, there you go. That's the answer to this episode. With or without. That's literally
Why do you do this one?
That's like how you remain content in dating, in whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're dating someone casually, with or without you. Like, you have to have that energy and be okay with being, maybe it might just be you.
Yeah.
But it's nice with the person.
Right.
It's nice to have someone. But if not, like, you have you.
Let's end with some tips for enjoying single life and living it up.
I feel like, even though I said I'm not dating right now, I like 100% believe in just dating and talking to people, because I do feel like you do learn a lot about yourself when you're like going on different dates with people. And if you're not in the period where you can go on dates, don't just date anybody. I'm not saying date anybody. It's like, if they meet your standard, if they like are a good enough person, you're like, let me just see where this goes. I would definitely say date. Like, learn as much about different people and about yourself as you can. How to be content. Again, trying new things. I remember, like, right when I broke up, that's why I said I threw myself into a bunch of different things, because I realized the amount of time that I had on my hands versus like when I was with someone. I was like, dang, I really have a lot of time. And even now, when I like tell myself I don't have enough time, and I like think back on when I was in a relationship, I really do have a lot of more free time now than I did when I was in a relationship. So really throwing yourself into everything that you've like always kind of wanted to do. Oh, girl time. That part. That's like, if you have a solid, good amount of friends, doesn't have to be a whole group. It could be like one best friend, one really good friend. Like, they can really, that's a whole different topic. They have transformed my view of love, my view of everything. But like, pouring into them, it really does help make your single season so much more content, is when you realize like love is really around you, and platonic love is just as important and just as special. Those are my 3.
I love that. I agree. I think also adding to the friends, when you with your girlfriends, like talking to them about any struggles you have in that aspect. Like, if you're like straight up vulnerable and like, I am feeling like shit about myself, they will hype you up. They will help you see your worth. And like, those are the people that actually know you. And so if they can speak to your strengths, I think that will build your confidence and remind you who you are. But don't bottle it inside if you're feeling less than. I know I'm not single, but like I said, I have so much personal time to myself. And if you don't know what to do, like, literally learn how to do your hair, learn how to do makeup, learn things that will pour into yourself and make you feel more confident, and take care of your outward appearance. That gives you more confidence. Developing your style. Jocelyn's helped me with my style. Learn how to enhance like your natural beauty as well. Even with my boyfriend, I'm not like, oh, we're 100% getting married in this time and having kids. Like, it's just, I'm taking it day by day. Like, as long as you guys have those conversations about it and like are not leading each other on, you guys are on the same page. But like, other than that, taking away like any attachment to how things are going to go.
In the grand scheme of life, you're less time single and by yourself than you are with a person. So like, while it does get lonely, boring a lot of the time sometimes, like, it really is a blessing nonetheless.
Know your worth, set your standards, learn about yourself first.
Yes.
And then know that the right person is going to value you when you're honoring yourself, though. Like, you have to put your true self forward and not like this facade.
Yes. Period.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for coming on the pod.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks, and you're welcome.
That was so amazing. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. Cleo, subscribe.